Given that everything that science discovers is perceived and mapped out by the human brain, what do you think is greater, the brain, the human brain, or the universe that it recognizes?
Well, first of all, with all due respect, I don't understand what you mean by greater. Is that a value judgment?
Significant, yes. What is more necessary?
Well, it certainly appears to me that the universe's existence is necessary for my existence. That seems to be the case, although who knows? I mean, it could be that I could spontaneously pop into existence without a universe, and maybe I have. But um, but greater is the kind of thing that it's an irrelevant question. The point is the human brain is remarkably complex and we don't understand it. The universe is remarkably beautiful and we don't fully understand it, which is the joy. The joy of not understanding is what makes life worth living, not the joy of certainty that immortality is potentially finite, or the certainty that there'll be 72 virgins in heaven if you blow up the World Trade Center or something. I mean, that kind of nonsense is what stifles, it seems to me, that what makes being human worth being human is it's the uncertainty, it's the mystery, it's not knowing, and that effort to understand this incredibly complex thing, which I admit we may never understand. I mean, some people think that, and physicists are the most obnoxious of all scientists. That's true.
No,
but, well, I'd say
you.
that. But just me.
Well,
Okay.
do you?
And I may be the most, no, I can say from experience that I'm not the most obnoxious physicist I know. But anyway, although I'm up there. But now you confuse me. But the point is that we don't claim to know everything. That's the whole point. We don't claim certainty. And that's great.
Well, do you claim certainty?
No.
I don't get that.
Are you certain that God exists?
No.
Good.
I mean, this is so crazy, Lawrence. You do this all the time in contrasting science and religion with these false dichotomies.
Well, you demonstrate them.
I think not. I mean, I would say that science and theology are very similar in that they're both on a quest for understanding. Christian faith is not a brain-dead faith. It is a rational, inquiring faith. St. Anselm had a slogan, Fides quaerens intellectum, which means faith seeking understanding. And so, like science, which we as Christians celebrate, theology is also embarked on the process.
I'm going to ask you a question I've asked other theologians.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Maybe I have.
No, I bet you've asked others.
You know the question. You're prepared
Yes.
for the answer. Good. Good, because I'd like to learn about this, because I've asked a lot of theologians, what contributions to human knowledge has theology provided in the last, say, 300 years? Give me one example. The answer I always get is, what do you mean by knowledge? Now, if I ask a biologist or a chemist or a historian, I get a different answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Theology is the queen of the sciences. The proper object of theology is God. Theology is the study of God. It gives us.
But didn't you say God isn't subject to science? So didn't you say science can't? God is not subject to science? Didn't you say God is outside science? So in that case, if theology is study of God, how can it be a science?
Well,
Lawrence, let him answer the question,
Well,
please, because we're not actually going to get anywhere if you're constantly talking over Bill. Please.
Okay. I actually do think we'll get somewhere. We'll get rational definitions.
okay.
Okay.
Bill,
All right.
if you can
I'll
respond,
try to be succinct.
and then we will go to the questions
My-
from the floor.
Theology students from Germany often wrestled with the question, is theology a Wissenschaft? That is to say, that's the word for science in German. But what they meant by science was in the classical sense, scientia, knowledge. And certainly theology is a source of knowledge. It gives us knowledge of God, his existence and nature, what he requires of us, what our moral obligations are to him, how to find eternal life and forgiveness of sins. These, you may not be interested in this, but that doesn't do anything to deny the fact that theology is a scientia. It is a body of truth. It is a body of knowledge, just as much as science is scientia about the natural
And
world.
and I might also say that in the way that Bill is defining knowledge in this way, you also have redefined something like nothing in your
Right.
way.
Well,
So-
let me say that there's a difference, and that the fact is that if theology gives us knowledge of God, how come different theologies give you different knowledge? I mean, physics that's done in the Islamic world is the same as physics that's done in this world. Balls fall, Newton's laws work. But in fact, theologians of different religions come up with completely inconsistent views of what God is and what eternity is. And so if it really is knowledge, it's very particular to where you grew up.
Well, but you celebrate uncertainty, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay. Well,
So what's the why? Just as quantum physicists have at least 10 different physical interpretations of
But
the
they're not
equations of
inconsistent.
quantum mechanics.
They're not. The difference is if two scientific ideas are inconsistent, one is right and one is wrong, or they're both wrong.
Yeah.
They're not both right.
But Lawrence, I'm not a relativist. I'm not a pluralist. I think that the same holds for theology.
And you
In
think
fact, I am
Christianity is right and
gratified-
Islam is wrong.
I am gratified to hear you affirming the law of contradiction here and affirming the laws of logic.
So Islam is wrong.
I do believe that Islam is not fully true, that there are elements of Islam that are false.